Hello, what's going on? Welcome to your reading. Thank you for your patience. I think your reading is the last one of this insane not brick, but like just this insane amount of readings I got within like a 2-day period. Yeah. It was just so many of them, and I'm just relieved to have them done. And there's one more, I guess, that was on the 13th, and then the next one's the 18th, and the next one's the 22nd. So it's like, yeah, like most of my um September readings came in this like a really short period at the start of the month, and like, you know, people have been waiting. So welcome, welcome. Okay, so I have used CZ initials. Let's go into present mode right now. Let's not waste any time. I like to stay in present mode and go back and forth. Okay. And that's because I like to meditate and just do shit that I don't really necessarily want to be seen on camera doing with my crystal or my magical baby. And I just got intuition to take a different one today. Also, this one, obsidian and something I don't know the name of. That's like a Uranus one. It's a gold obsidian one. I'll show you in a little bit. So, okay. So we got an Aries sun in the second house with a gem moon. Last reading I did was a gem moon. Pisces rising in the first, well, obviously the first, I mean, I was gonna say North Node in the first, Juno risings. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Aspect wise, we have nothing difficult with the moon. Well, okay. Moon opposite Neptune is at 9 degrees. Ooh, this is the question of the astrologer, right? It's like, do you use that, 9-degree orb? I'll talk about it, I guess, but I mean, not I guess I'll talk about it, but it's not like a super pressing aspect. Um, and aspects of the moon obviously are the most, important ones and difficult ones. So when you don't have them, it's good. And let's see, I need to verify with my eyes. Anything over here? Yeah, no Pluto. I mean, I guess it does square your south node. So there could be some past life issues with the mother or whoever the least dominant parent is. And then Pisces, no. So moon's good, sun it is not opposite Uranus. That is nice. Um and yeah, so good on those. Let's see Mars in Taurus with a lot of planets in Taurus. So it's 6 to 24. So anything Scorpio, Jupiter, okay, whatever. Not like a big one. And then in fixed in Leo, Black Moon Lilith square Venus, and in Aquarius none. Okay, so yeah, your personal planets don't really have that much craziness. You have Pluto on the descendant, and you have Vertex conjunct Pluto. I will. Sorry, I was talking to my girlfriend who's annoying me. Um, so um, yeah, like Vertex on Pluto is very interesting. With that south, that being the house in the south node. Anyways, okay, so the first question is, the obvious one. What's the relationship between the sun and the moon? What's the relationship between moon in Gemini and sun in Aries? Well, these are two signs that get along very, very well. Aries is obviously the first sign. And it is about action and independence and perseverance, or not perseverance, just about doing things, pioneering, just going after, what you want and your desires. And it gives a lot of kind of masculine power to someone, an ability to kind of just self-start and be a leader. I don't really go into sun signs here, but you get it. Then the moon in Gemini is a very interesting moon placement. It's in the fourth house. So, you know, that definitely complements the Aries because it's like, both are very adventurous and action oriented. Now, there's a lot with Gemini moon. And let me switch back so you can see me. I told you I like to go back and forth. Um, so let me get something out of the way. Oh shit. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, 1 sec. I need to check something. What is that? I hope that's not what I think it is. Okay, your channel. I just had like some like Zoom. I just need to make sure that yo, fuck, I just closed it. Okay, here it is. Channel content. Okay. So these should both been done yesterday. Oh, so wait, I'm so confused. Right? So if it's KM, let's see. Okay, so that should be good then, right? Because I did the two yesterday. So then what is this? Oh, I see. Oh, okay. I just need to double check this. Pretty sure that I know what it is. Uh, oh, 261. Sorry about this, by the way. If I don't do these things like when they come up, like I just don't remember. Okay, I see. So I'm gonna pause that. Um, but yeah, Gemini Moon is someone who is, super, super inquisitive, someone who has this like innate need to learn, right? Like just like you know, learn about whatever it is. And Felix, get away from me. Go away. Bad boy. Um, so it's definitely, it creates, an intellectual person, right? Because and a curious person. So because Aries is a fire sign and it's about action, um, oh my God, I know Red Bull is like bad, but like I keep saying this, like this flavor, it's so fucking good. Like I don't, like an energy drink like freak or anything, but like I just like watermelon goodness. I was just saying this the other day. Hmm. Um, okay, I figured out what the issue is. FYI, and I need to tell. Okay. So good, 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 good. So okay. So where did the chart go? So yeah, with that, in the fourth house, it's interesting because you'll be someone who, like, I always like to think, especially when there's an excess of, I mean, there is a lot of earth though, so yeah, you have every element. You have every element, so you're solid. I don't have to give you a speech of like this or that. But for sun and moon, especially when there's a good relationship, I just like to think of it like two pilots, the masculine and the feminine going in the same direction, right? Common goal. Um, so then you got your Pisces rising, and I'll talk more about Giant Moon, don't worry. Making your chart ruler Neptune, which is where? It's in the 10th house, career. Actually, I don't like saying career. Dharma, higher life purpose. So that's like sign one is someone who could be an artist, or who's really, really trying to learn a lot about, and especially if you're Jupiter in the 9th house. It's like a really good one for like astrology, to be honest. Um, I can flash this again. So you have Jupiter here, 9th house, Scorpio, right? Very, very psychic placement, Scorpio. Jupiter. But yeah, okay, so what are the characteristics of a Pisces rising, right? Well, for one, they definitely can blend into their environments very well. They can be what I like to call the chameleon of the zodiac. But there can also be, and they can be, very, very spiritual. When I say attractive, I mean like I never talk about like, I mean, unless there's like these like like different asteroids that are all about that. I talk more about, and by the way, just so you know, I have no idea what you look like. I have no idea anything about you. I purposely make sure that I don't look at any, and when I say any, anything about a client before I'm doing their chart. Like I know like nothing, and which is a really great benefit because I can be very objective. Um, so yeah, like the Pisces rising person is, they tend to have these like sweet eyes, this kind of angel disposition. Um, and but they have to watch out for boundaries, right? Boundaries can be a tough thing for them to enforce. And it can be like a lifelong work for them to to be doing that, right? To not allow people to kind of step on them. Because with you, with your North Node in the first house in Pisces, that's like a mix of like really leaning into that Aries energy. And the reason you're in Aries, and you have Chiron in Aries too, which is it's not conjunct your sun, but it's 12 degrees away, right? Is that you're meant to go through some type of kind of like identity crisis of sorts, right? Um, and is Neptune doing anything opposite Mars? Okay. How did I not catch that with my eyes? Well, because they're not in opposite signs. So that kind of weakens that opposition, actually. But it's still definitely there. Yeah. And with outers, because it is different in my view, because like if it was like Mars opposite Mercury, I would think less about it because like, Mercury is a concentrated personality, so the sign matters more. But with Jupiter, or not Jupiter, with the outer planets, it's definitely more about degrees. But anyway, as I continue. So North Node is like kind of like the karmic mountain never climbed and path site where you're trying to get. For me, it's one of the most important parts of the chart, especially the karmic astrologer, right? So to have it in Pisces means that you're really, really trying. I guess I go back on camera. You're really, really trying to get to a level of spirituality that you've never been at before in this lifetime. But in doing that, there's a big, big need for you to not fall victim to this tendency in relationships, which is to or in past lives, not relationships, this tendency in past lives, which is to like allow relationships to define you too much and to be too much in like the material world, and to not allow your imagination to flourish, right? So, um, it's like the only way you can really completely complete the quest of your North Node is by having firm boundaries with people, right? Yeah, Moon in Gemini is a great indicator of intelligence also. Very curious, active minded. There's a need to communicate with people of all walks of life. It's kind of like a social butterfly energy. People with Moon in Gemini, even if they're like super deep people, they can still like small talk, unless there's other parts of the chart that deny that. Like they really just enjoy communicating. So you can imagine how great that could be for any type of career or any kind of thing in this world, right? It's just like this endless like mental like endurance, right? To just do so many things. Like some people get really, really worn out, and you are Pisces rising, so it could be something that happens to you to an extent. But there's definitely people who get really, really worn out from, let's say like you worked like in some kind of like sales job, right? You'd be able um to do that. But also Gemini is so curious that one of the shadows of the Gemini moon is that they put their hands into too many different jars, and then they don't end up mastering any of them. So it's like learning from the opposite sign of Sagittarius, which is about like, maybe picking like a few things that you really want to, master, and then sticking to those. So very, very adaptable. So it's very, very good for like that Aries sun, likes to just start things and go. And then Gemini moon part of you, the emotional need is like to be able to like have variety and have change, right? So both of those are very much very similar. That's why Aries and Gemini are compatible signs. Also, yeah, very easily bored, like a need for stimulation, especially intellectual stimulation. So in terms of partnerships, you're not going to do well with someone who is inflexible intellectually and boring, like with their mind, like kind of brainwashed energy. Um, so yeah. What else about that? Yeah, so just that need for change, and stimulation. Yeah. But there can be that scatteredness, right? So it's good to like to still have that variety, but not go too crazy with it. Um, And yeah, it's like I think of Gemini moons as like they're like journalists of life. They're going from person to person, gathering data, ideas, informations. Um, they really just want to be like socially engaged. So and it's also very inquisitive. It's curious, like it wants to know the truth. Um, and yeah, they're great networkers. And with the Aries sun, you're a great, very, very great leader, potential leader. Um, Air moons, can be less concerned with like the deep emotional intricacies. They can sometimes, having your moon uh ruled by Mercury can lead to psychopathology because there can be anxiety, overthinking things. So it's really important to find emotional balance through really finding ways to dive into your emotions, whether it's like watching, like I always give this example, but you can imagine a lot of other ones, like, finding that movie that makes you cry, for example. like, journaling, like about your emotions, like really making an effort to do that, right? Um, so yeah, you feel lots of like worth, personal worth by connecting to other people, right? And your emotional needs when things like get kind of like repetitive, like you need to really break the fuck out, right? So and I have that too, misogynist, right? So it's very, very much about freedom, creative freedom, all that stuff. Um, and mm, yeah, there can just be this like, and people can take it the wrong way, but just like, you don't want to just be stuck to one person. I don't mean that romantically. I mean just like Gemini moons can just have so many different friends and so many different groups, and sometimes like move on from their from different groups or situations, environments, all these experiences. Like they want to experience a lot, right? And exchange lots of information, take it in, give it out, right? So, like just think about the romantic implications of that, right? I always like to have romance in my reading. Also, it's really, really skilled with words. So, communicator. And just like the desire to like, share what you learn with other people, right? And increase that communication. So the balance though that's needed comes from being connected to your immediate surroundings. That's like your environment. That's like what Gemini is about, the immediate environment, and having people in your life, and having that, meeting that need for variety and change, right? And having like lots of different experiences and projects and all that stuff. Um, and just like following that curiosity. If you're not able to follow that curiosity, and if you're feeling constrained, it's going to really, really make you unhappy and feel like not good. Um, and yeah, connections with other people, right? Super important. And just that feeling of newness, right? So yeah, I mean that connects very well with Aries, of course. Um, Now the moon is in the fourth house, so and I use whole sign just by the way. Um, so that's like, the house of home, the house of like of the eternal, the house of, the Cancer house, right? So um, that can make one, especially with the Gemini moon, like move a lot. Like I imagine you probably move a lot. You move a lot of places. Um, and it can make one, even though like they are moving a lot and maybe like a traveler, like kind of gypsy energy, right? In the gypsy in the sense of, I know from the Balkans, so like you actually know what a real gypsy is. Um, just like the Western, but like kind of bohemian, like moving from place to place, like all that. Um, so mm, really adaptable though. And yeah, just like when you're moving from place to place, like wanting to like have that new place like feel like home. So like let's say you're traveling, you're staying 6 months in Bali, like you want to have like a place and make it like, even though it's temporary, like make it feel like homey, Um, Also fourth house moons, they really would like to live by water. Um, gives them deep satisfaction and the ability to connect with their emotions on a deeper level. So yeah. Um, and yeah, it also it gives more of a, because the air moons can, like I said, not trust their emotions. They can be a little bit removed from them, but the fourth house can make you actually like have a need to kind of actually dive deeper into them, right? Now, where should I go first? Pisces or Aries? We got interesting chart. It's like Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini. That's like where most of the action is, right? So let's start with Pisces, first house, right? So obviously, Pisces rising, as I said, has that little like Esmond like that, little angel phase. Um, they like to wait their turn before kind of like barging in. And you have Juno rising, so that gives beauty and it gives like a very sensual kind of like um vibe. Um and Yeah, just having the North Node there, it means that you're really in this lifetime trying to find that oneness because in past lives and also but like that oneness through being independent. So it's like really okay for you to be selfish. Like you almost have to kind of be selfish, especially when it comes to partnerships, because there is a tendency to be in partnerships that have held you back from finding your true authenticity. I can give you an example, like, you know, let's say you're in a relationship with someone, who has like who like in this current time, who believes everything they hear on the media, who just is super like unevolved in the sense like they're just stuck, but you still stay with them, right? Who you're around like has such an impact on you, especially as a Pisces rising. And also as a Pisces rising, what happens is that people project on you a lot. Marilyn Monroe had a Pisces rising. She had a quote that was something along the lines of like, how all the men in her life like saw her for what they wanted to see her for, as opposed to like what she really was. So yeah. But yeah, Juno on the ascendant, it's very good for loyalty when it comes to relationships. It makes it really easy to attract partnerships, and lots of like, when you first meet your lifelong partner, it's like there's lots of fate involved in that, right? Love at first sight type energy. And it makes one a very like devoted, loving person in general, like not just to your lover. And usually, like honestly, like it's funny how I was talking about this earlier. Like usually, I don't know what you look like I said, but usually this does make someone very very attractive. And I said like attractive can be physical attractive. Usually, it's that it can be that, but what it always is that energetically attractive. It's a very very good. It's another one I could add to my list of like posts that hopefully I'll do one day, which I should probably actually write a note about. Actually, fuck, I can't do that. Yeah, I can't. No, I can't. But yeah, Juno conjunct the ascendant is really good karma. Really, really good karma. Any like good planets or asteroids conjunct the ascendant, it's amazing karma. And it makes you like really able to express commitment and devotion to your loved ones in like a very obvious way. It's like able to like, really express love, which is really nice for someone who's an Aries Gemini, which can be a little bit more further removed. Um, so yeah, and it gives one like lots of like confidence in relationships and commitment. So that's really good for a Gemini, all of course, right? Because like Gemini moons, like I said, can get bored quite easily in relationships. So you really need someone who's like super smart. Um, I was gonna say maybe older, but then yeah, you have Venus and Taurus. So like, yeah, um, someone mature but who's also like very fun. You know, like potentially older, but like definitely who has like that youthful spirit. And you're born in 70. See, this is what's fucking interesting, right? I didn't even look at your time, like your year, but my intuitive sense, I felt this youthfulness. I was like, if I was blindfolded and they're like, what year is she born? I would have said 1990. That would have been my guess. So you have this youthful energy. Um, but let me just like go back, just to quadruple check without cheating and seeing a photo. Okay, I'm not looking at the photo. Okay, you did say that time. You did say that time. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you I'm doing it now. Okay. One second. So yeah, I think that that definitely helps. You know, but like the Pisces rising, like I said, with the Marilyn Monroe, it's like making sure that you're not allowing other people's like projections of you to to kind of guide you in a way, right? And to have like an effect on you because that can be very dangerous. Um, I'm sorry I'm on my phone during this read. I know it's rude. I and I just opened a message and I was oh God. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Oh God, oh Lord, oh Lord. Why is that a good idea? I'm not like doing the idea now, but okay. Yeah. So yeah, making sure that you give yourself space, that you know that you have very, very firm boundaries. Now, the fact that you have, Juno um in that position means that you will have lots of good karmic luck with your relationships. However, you have Pluto in the seventh house, so that is a big one, conjunct vertex. So that it adds even more fate when it comes to you and you know in your romantic relationships and partnerships and anything that's like close in that respect. Um, so I continue. Second. Okay, I just need to know this before I forget this shit. This shit. Okay, got it. So okay, so this is the big thing, and also you have Ceres, which is kind of like a second moon. It's an asteroid that is very, very, very important. And in essence, Ceres is all about it's like how you're nurtured and how it's how you nurture others and how you feel nurtured, right? So to have it in Pisces, in the first house indicates that you really feel cared for when you're feeling that oneness with the world, right? Um, so it does give this like deep, like spiritual need, I guess you could say, right? Like this like you really, really feel um you feel at peace when you're connected with other people who and or more so yourself in the first house, right? But yeah, when you feel that oneness, right? That can't be explained in the Gemini in words, right? And that's the thing that has to be overcome with Gemini moon. Why what also Gemini moons can be quite fidgety. So, doing something with your hands, it rules the hands, like playing guitar or like doing something with your hands can be really, really, really healing. Um, but yeah, like lots of like Gemini moons have like anxiety disorders. I'm not. My guess is you do not have that. But yeah, and it just makes you very, very compassionate. That your Pisces rising is a blessing in your chart because it makes you very, very compassionate. Um, and yeah, I mean, what else can we say? What else can we say? Um, so I'm literally gonna put my phone away in 2 seconds. So yeah, first house series. What else can I say about that? Like yeah, it just gives you like a very warm nature. Kind of like adds you more of that like warmth to your outer personality, which is so fucking good when you have an Aries Gemini. Because like you need that Pisces, right? It's like if you imagine if your rising was Aries, or Gemini, like um, but what this does, which is very interesting, and I would say advantageous, um, is that you come off in a way um that like even though you have all these like very masculine energies, right? You come off in a way that's very, very feminine. Um, so people feel very, very people are almost surprised when they get to know you, of this dynamism, right? Not that they expect it's like or maybe some people think like, oh, maybe I can get something over this girl, like maybe she's weak, and then oh, are they surprised? um, so yeah, hold on. I always remember shit. It's really important during readings. I have to write down. Okay. Got it. Okay. So yeah, 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 yeah. And then you also have Pallas in the first house. Um, so in Pisces. So Pallas is about working. Wait, what am I talking about, Jesse? No, Pallas is not about thinking. Pallas is your third eye. It's like very linked to like the third eye intuition. Um, it's like the wisdom seeker, right? It's the asteroid that rules that. So to have that in Pisces is another great indicator of like this very meditative mind, someone that can like merge with the universe, and very, very, very good for healing, for being a healer. Um, and very, very artistic too. So this whole first house is like it gives you this huge desire. And your North Node could even be like a desire, to express this artistic nature, right? To take like, you know, the stuff that's in your dreams and your imagination and in some way implant it into your life. Um, and yeah, first house Palace, like, like definitely likes to express themselves in very individualistic ways, very creative, original, like thinker. Um, and it can make someone um very unconventional, right? Like really defy connections. Let's see here. Mhm. So then, you know, we look at your seventh house. I guess I could share. No, I'm not gonna share. I'll show you my face. Very rare that I show my face for this long. Very rare. Um, I mean here, Pluto opposing the ascendant, with the vertex is basically, so you see I'm weaving together the things. Basically, it's like, okay, South Node's in the seventh house in Virgo. So I've talked about that already. This was a big quest for identity for you in this lifetime, spiritual identity, leaving behind past life tendencies to submerge yourself in others, right? So it's like finding the balance between like Aries self-assertion and Libra balance, right? And giving to others. Um, but not being like codependent or anything like that. And then, also like with the Pisces Virgo, I already talked about that, but like it's about like, when you're South Node and Virgo, sometimes there can be like this tendency to be very rigid, self-critical, stuck in the here and now, this little thing, like all these like structures that are created, like rigidly, obsessed with like order and cleanliness, um, which can make you judgmental of yourself and then others, right? Which that blocks you if you're like, in your own head and creating stories, right? And you might still have that with your Gemini moon, where you can create stories like, oh, like like an example of creating a story is like, oh, I'm depressed, or oh, I have this disease, or this like this like right now I have Neptune square my moon, for example, one of the hardest transits you can have. And there's this like mood disorder that I have a lot of the symptoms of. It's not bipolar. I'm not even close. I don't have mania or anything like that. But it's like a very mini. It's like I don't even know the fucking names. It starts with a C. Circotic disorder. I forget. But like basically, like I could easily just like identify with that. Like, oh, I have that. I have that. Or I could be like, you know what? Like maybe I have like higher highs and lower lows for sure. Do I always have than most people, but I'm not gonna like let some fucking word define me. That would be a story, is if I let like that word define me, and then I thought I couldn't get out of it, right? So yeah, what can happen with the Virgo South is that these little things can block their understanding and that connectness of that one connectness and oneness with the universe, which is what you're really going towards with Northern Pisces. So it's all about, developing deep spiritual understanding of yourself and of the world, and really keyword, learning to rely on your intuition, which is so important. So when I talk about like the Pluto here, conjunct vertex, right, which vertex is all about fate. So I already said that, right? Didn't I? That like that makes someone's love relationships very faded. But also your doorway to higher awareness is through some of these like more dark like experiences in love, right? um there can also be a lot of control issues in relationships, right? Wanting to be in control of everything, even if it's like it's usually unconscious. And yeah, power and control issues can be a big theme. It can create jealousy. It's not like, you know, evil or anything like that. It's really it just makes it like so your need to like regenerate, right? Like relationships are where you go through the death, rebirth, transformation through like the more painful experiences. Um, but when it's working like well, this aspect, there's no limit to your progress and achievements, right? But what it can create OCD. That's one thing that the vertex Pluto can create. When you want to be so in control of your life that you just can't chill, right? But being a Gemini moon, that's going to push a lot of that away because Gemini moons are so good at going with the flow. So yeah, working on self-control and impulse control important, especially in Aries, Gemini. And yeah, just like leaning into like the leadership ability and you know, just like confident stuff, you know. Even like working on your appearance and how you see yourself physically is huge. So yeah, and also there's lots of lessons in love for you, right? So that's a for sure, for sure. But yeah, Pluto opposite your ascendant is very interesting, right? Because basically, you know, actually, wait one second. Yeah. So basically, like your ascendant is that isn't that smooth, like, Pisces, that innocent Pisces. Um, but then like there's that pull from those relationships, right? That want to keep you in your South Node, right? So it's all about finding personal power from within yourself, spiritual power, right? And your son's in the second house. So let's not forget, I haven't talked about it yet. That's the house of Taurus. That's all about having like a set of values that then you can like live your life and judge your own behavior based off of, right? Which is all about going within, you know. And it's really important not to become overly critical of yourself and of other people because there can be like really, really big expectations, and to not be like obsessed with money and the pleasures that life can bring, right? It can be very attractive to you. So in the second house, obviously, is known as like being like really good for money, and very well could be, you know. Um, but really about like going within yourself through meditation or whatever it is, um, and not being obsessed with you know, like valuing yourself based on external circumstances, right? Now, with that said, the Pluto opposition to the ascendant, as I was talking about, um, can play itself out in a way where, you know, there's these ego battles in the relationship, right? The battle for control, and the Pisces ascendant wants peace, right? The Pisces ascendant wants things to be smooth, and the Plutonian part will bring someone to have like very intense, relationships, right? So it's actually, you could think of this as being called Pluto's setting, because Pluto is setting at the time of your birth, right? So yeah, like I said, um, relationships transform your life, and you have a huge influence on your partners and also on family members, like BFF, business partners, stuff like that, right? Um, and also there can be, this is the huge part, is that there can be a obsession with needing companionship, right? Um, which is totally going in your South Node. The South Node being like the been there, done that. You don't want to live in your South Node. I just had an article about that, right? Um, so this can attract like stalker type people, like obsessive type people, until you really reach that evolutionary point. To not just like to not need to be able to be alone, which that's actually what your chart's asking you for, is to be alone so that you can really develop your identity. Um, so yeah, poor self-esteem can really be fucking take you to dark places with this one, because you might just put up with a bunch of shit that you're not supposed to put up with, and want companionship so much that like unhealthy relationships are formed, and it can create like abusive partners, manipulating, dominating partners. So yeah, even ones that are like addicts. And yeah, like this is a big codependent tendency here, right? Which is what your South Node's saying. And like this push and pull in the relationship between who has the power and who doesn't. So yeah. Um, and it can lead to like violence, domestic abuse, all these kind of things can happen, right? Or if it's just on a psychological level. So it's important to seek help if anything like that happens. But like, and a lot of people who have this, like the problem is that they base their self-worth on relationships. But it's, you know, you know, personal mastery is about regaining your inner power and controlling your destiny, right? So, it does take you to the underworld, and there oftentimes is abuse with Sun House Pluto by the partner, but you know, there's a point to it, right? Um, because like you go through that death rebirth transformation through the relationships. And it's not all like necessarily like, there's definitely abuse, right? It's just like you learn to love yourself by seeing what it looks like to not, right? And on a more positive manifestation, right? It's about having like very profound connections with people where it's like the deepest, you know? You can marry like a very powerful, wealthy, successful person. Um, and even your influence on them can make them, you could be like their muse in a sense, right? Where they are very successful because of your influence, right? Um, so yeah, it's like in any kind of one-on-one partnership, there will be like, and this is usually earlier in life, but it still continues. Like there is a level of like that darkness that comes up, but like it can develop into something very, very successful. Um, and like even like having like a partnership, like where you're like working together with your partner or like a business partner where you guys like really, really get rich together. So yeah. So yeah. Okay. So okay, with the Aries, so this is the interesting thing on the Aries thing is that there's Chiron there. So Chiron there in Aries in the second house means that your sense of being, like Chiron and Aries people always have to do inner child work. They felt like it felt maybe sometimes it can speak to like the physical body having been violated in some way, right? And not like in the R word way necessarily, but like they like maybe it's a parent, right? Or the early environment, which you do have a nice aspect between your sun and your moon. So usually that speaks to like the parents being cool. It definitely doesn't like give me an indication that there's like a big fight between the two, or a big like disagreement. Um, but it's very tough to tell with that. But yeah, it's like all about like there can be a fear of asserting yourself, of asserting that Ariesness, right? And um some people might overcompensate by trying to be first at everything. You have to watch out for head wounds because Aries rules the head. And yeah, it can make you like a pioneer in terms of like being a healer, right? And how you give back to humanity. Now, in the second house, that can create, so that goes back to like this huge need for you, right? To not base your, once again, I said this before, your level of success on finances, because there can be lots of pain that comes through financial loss or financial insecurity. Um, Also, like that's an indicator of poor self-esteem earlier in life, right? As the Pisces rising, there, like I said, there could have been like a big time, major creativity and compassion, all that, but like identity crisis, right? Where there's fog in terms of you kind of knowing how you want to like kind of go forward in life, right? And who you want to be, right? So yeah, it puts you on this like search for self-worth. Um, and then, if you are a healer, you're able to help other people find their own self-worth, and it can be through the body. So the second house can be through the body. So sun in the second house, doing something like yoga, meditation is very, very important, right? Now, speaking of body, well, guess what? You've got all these Taurus planets, which is so fucking helpful. Um, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, and Mars. Now, obviously, the last two are malefics, and yeah, but Mars and Taurus is separated. So the first three are all together, and the last one is on its own, which is Mars. So basically, and let's see at the aspects. So Mars is opposite Neptune, as I alluded to before. Venus is opposite Jupiter. It's actually like not a bad opposition. Like the one thing is to watch out. Like it's like Mars, like any connection with Venus and Jupiter is good. I don't give a fuck if it's a square or an opposition. Like it's good, you know. Um, and but the only thing is that you have to watch out for like doing like for like restraint, moderation. Like you can have this like just going all the way type of energy, which Aries is very known to be like, right? Um, so yeah. And yeah. But overall it can just, be very good for just luck and money and stuff like that. And meeting the right people at the right time. So yeah. What else can I say about that one? Yeah, it's just really, it's also another really good one for good looks. And popularity, social success. Yeah, luck. Also good luck for finding a partner. All these things, right? So, and also, yeah, being a very like agreeable, receptive person, free spirit energy, but really important to find like a profession that suits you and your creative abilities, right? That gives stability to you. And also with your Gemini moon, it's like the ability to like turn your hobbies into your career, into the moneymaker. So yeah, and then with Jupiter, obviously Mercury, I'd say it's more about just like watching out to promise too much. Um, so like not being like too like yeah, it is in Taurus, which is going to moderate things a good amount, right? Because Taurus is more conservative, so there's less of a chance of that happening. But I like it, like Mercury and Jupiter, it makes one think big. You think big, big ideas, big concepts. Learning a lot through personal experience, which is a very Gemini and Moon thing, like trial and error. Um, you prefer like to learn through the school of life than necessarily education. But even with that said, you have Jupiter in the ninth house, which is very, very good for higher education. For it gives lots of luck in your travels. You learn a lot through your travels as well, Jupiter ninth house. Um, and yeah, with these energies, it's just like you'll be accepted like in different cultures and stuff like that. And with your Pisces rising, if you travel a lot, you'll be able to really blend in with the people around you, which is fucking dope, isn't it? Um, but you have to really like basically like it's the same thing, like restraint, especially when making important decisions. Like don't just like hire the lawyers, the accountants, all those people if you're ever doing like a big business negotiation or something like that. Don't just go into it. But yeah, lots of chances for success. But yeah, you have to like not like sleep on any big decision basically, and don't promise too much more than you can chew up. Then Mercury, in Taurus conjunct Venus in Taurus. Beautiful. So they both have like a back and forth effect on one another. So Mercury to Venus, let's just go Venus to Mercury. It gives beauty in communication in the way you speak, and it gives like an optimistic mind, where you can express yourself in a loving manner and quite easily, and where you really enjoy talking to other people. That's really good for that Gemini moon that craves that, right? Um, and it makes you a very welcoming and good listener. So it's really, really good for popularity. I haven't seen anything in your chart that would make me think like you have issues with people, maybe just like with relationships at times. But my intuitive sense is that you know, high likelihood that you're in a very, very committed relationships, or maybe you've been in them that do get intense, but they're very deep and very, very, very real. But yeah, it's really about getting out of the types of relationships karmically that keep you away from the individualization of your spirit, like individualizing in that spiritual way. You know what I mean? Like that's fucking huge. Like so, if you're in a relationship that like where you can't speak your mind, where you're always conflicting, where you have such different ideals, I don't give a fuck. Like it's just not good for you. Because it's blocking away a lot of like the most important parts of your chart. So yeah, with the Mercury on the Venus, um, that makes you in terms of love, and we'll get into love right now. And Saturn's there too, by the way. So you have to talk about Saturn there too, right? So you're someone who likes to communicate a lot. And once again, Venus and Taurus, has they can be quite conservative. Also Venus conjunct Saturn, like, really, really good for having long-term relationships, but it can be not until like the Saturn return around 30 years old that they really come true. But like, romance and reliability go hand in hand with Venus and Taurus, right? And there's usually like a slow and steady approach, which is very, very key to have that, right? Because the Venus opposite Jupiter can want to jump into things too quickly. So, yeah, looking for someone who has like a lot of security. Also, Venus and Taurus, very good for money. And like the love language is through touch, right? Through touch and sensuality. So that's important because like as a Gemini moon, it's not usually what that's all about. But the Venus love language is like that. And the Juno is in Pisces, which is also very close, but more in an emotional, spiritual way. And the third house Venus, you want your immediate surroundings to be very beautiful. You like to just travel around a lot, even if it's like within like the area you live in, But I think it's both. I think you like to travel around a lot, like internationally, and then also in your country. I don't think you're in Bosnia. I forget where you live. I know it's somewhere in Europe. Great guess, right? Um, so yeah, really like also it's very good for relationships. Well, the siblings thing is interesting because there's 4 planets there, so it can really go any way. But Venus on its own is good for that. Mercury would make you want to communicate a lot with them. But Saturn could create lots of like kind of difficult karma where the relationship with the sibling doesn't get better until after, um, the Saturn turn. But then and Mars can create like combativeness with the sibling, right? Or siblings. Um, But yeah, Saturn can, if you have siblings, can create lots of karma around those relationships and make them very, very important. So blah 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 blah, and that's it. Just joking. Joking. If I was like every other astrologer, like, oh, I'm 4 minutes over an hour, so Yeah, even though I have so much more to say, you're gonna have to pay another 600 euros. So sorry. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, so Saturn, Venus, and Mercury all together. We kind of have to talk about like each one. So yeah, the Saturn, the Venus, it can make one quite shy, also, and inhibited in their personal relationships. That's why like sometimes it takes longer for them to have the most important ones. Um, like fear of commitment with Gemini moons, definitely fear of commitment. Because there's like that grass is green on the other side energy with Gemini moons, Aquarius moons, stuff like that. They don't want their freedom to be held back. So, if they're gonna enter something, they're gonna be damn fucking sure. Damn fucking sure. Um Now, yeah. Also there could have been like where one of your parents was too strict, which could have led to you fearing like to express yourself artistically, even though you have your Venus in the dignity sign of Taurus. And yeah, it's all about overcoming the fears of inadequacy. And then you can have like really long lasting relationships based on firm boundaries. And it's very good for loyalty and having that reciprocated, Venus and Saturn, right? So it's like really good for marriage and long lasting marriage. Um, so then I guess the last one would be of those three would be, and by the way, just so you know, like Mercury in Taurus, which is also, yeah, um they tend to like information in a more traditional way, like very logical. They can be slow, methodical learners. Um but sometimes quite stubborn. So I always love when I have my Mercury Taurus clients because I'm like, wow, these people are. That's your Gemini moon, though. See, that's your Gemini moon, and your Mercury Taurus makes you like able to kind of like slowly, methodically like study different things you're interested in, right? It's a really nice mix of the elements, and it can also give you lots of beauty. Like I said, I said that like beauty in your speech, like a very nice voice, even singing. But like Saturn there may have like inhibited you and made you afraid to show that to the world. Um no, no. Third house Mercury is like really good for communication, just intelligence in general. And just like a quick learner, talkative, someone who says like lots of different things. It's where you want your fucking Mercury, that's for sure. No. Um, Saturn on your Mercury, that's a tough one. I mean, once again, Saturn is creating some aspects, so your Saturn return, um, 29 and a half was a big period for you, probably around 32 is when 31 and a half, 32 or something like that is like when you like really were able to like see all the good it did. But Mercury and Saturn is an amazing. Actually, what the fuck am I talking about? That's an amazing one. So this is a really high indicator of intelligence because Mercury is your brain, how you talk, how you think. Saturn it also rules memory, right? And because it rules time, so it gives a very logical mind. Um, and yeah, most people with that were shy as children, and like with the Venus, it can make one like shy to open up in relationships and that this, that, and the fourth. And shy to express your opinions. But you become a voice of authority as an adult and someone who may have doubted your intelligence when younger. But then once you really get firm into who you are, your identity, game over. You're like, fuck that shit. I'm smart as fuck. Now, not that many difficult aspects. Also, your moon is trine Uranus. That's big. It's very close, 3 degrees. So basically, that makes you like it just adds like a even more of a uniqueness and a need to kind of be your own person. Um, and even more of a need for freedom of expressing your true self in very unconventional ways, right? Stop it. So yeah, but like it's not a bad, it's a trine. So it's like you are you are you, and anything that tries to hold you back is capiche. Bye. Um, so yeah, really attracted to like lots of like exciting and new different things. And should I talk about Uranus now? Well, no, we haven't talked about Mars in Taurus. So this is by itself. So it's opposite Neptune and trine Saturn, Pluto. Wow. Okay, so this is some heavy ones. Not heavy, like big ones. So okay. First of all, Mars trine Pluto, you could be an athlete. You can be someone who's just very, very good with sports. You have a very high energy level, so it's really important to use that, and it gives like a lot of creative energy, right? Also gives a high sex drive, but not in a way that's like bad, right? Like the part about like having high energy, because like the square of Mars and Pluto is super volcanic. This is volcanic, but it's not necessarily volcanic in a way that like is disruptive. It's actually like when you put your mind to something, you have this real ability to just like go deep and deep and deep. Um, and to really call the right and wrongs you see around you in the world. Now, then there's the one with Neptune. So is that the most important? So yeah, this is the only like besides like the conjunctions of like Saturn on Venus and Mercury, and Pluto conjunct this or opposite ascendant. This is the only like really like difficult, or like this is like basically like besides the ascendant opposite Pluto, this is like the only non opposition or square in your chart that's like really important. Although I did see the Venus square Black Moon Lilith, right? Was it just Venus? Venus and Mercury. Okay. And also Vesta. So um so yeah, Mars opposite Neptune is difficult. And the reasons for that is that it um it can really fog up. One, you have to watch out for addiction. That's one, right? It goes back to this ideas of boundaries also. Um, it's deeply, deeply spiritual, but you can be your own worst enemy. It's like one of like the self-sabotaging ones. And there can be lots of paranoia that comes up. And there can be feelings of like feeling misunderstood. And like sometimes your actions, you take a step forward, and you know, there's like this internal struggle, right? Like insecurities and worries, right, that come up. So yeah, a lot of times there's low self-confidence early in life, like and a lot of times it can bring, because there's opposition, very deceptive people to you. So psychic vampires. That's why the boundary thing is so fucking important for you. So you really need to like have that you know that there's that boundary stuff down, right? Because people will sense that Pisces rising, that's what they see, and then psychic warfare can take place, right? So lots of people who have this, like in their battle to like keep their self-confidence, they turn to escapism, right? Which can be drugs, alcohol, whatever. Or different like or sexuality, like promiscuity, potentially, right? But it's really important to keep like high ethical moral standards. Um Also, you know, leaning into like creativity, like music, poetry, stuff like that, dance. It's really, really good. And it makes you just like very, very caring, especially for like the underdog in the world, the voice not heard. Um, and really important for you to not feel like you have to like live up to like anything, right? Like you are your own individualistic person. And it makes you attractive in very subtle and mysterious ways. Um, People can't quite put a pin on what it is, you know? So, mm, yeah, so it can just make one feel like, because Mars is your will, your movement forward, what so what gets you up in the morning, um, and then Neptune, it's basically just like the best ways to move into your imagination, to meditate, um, and to make, like I said, to make to have this channel into your North Node, to have a career, because that's where Neptune is in your 10th house, that is helping the world become a better place, and it's helping you go towards your North Node. So being like a psychologist or something spiritual would be very huge. Um, so yeah, it creates a spiritual warrior for sure, an artist. That's like the highest manifestation. Um, and yeah, what else have I not said? But what it can do, oh yeah, another thing is that it can make it like almost like sometimes like do shit that you just like, you're like, why did I do that? Like what the fuck, right? So there's a need to go deep within yourself to like figure out like where that comes from. There can be yeah, self. I think I already said that, like self-sabotaging type stuff, tendencies, and um, it can feel difficult to know like what it is you want out of life. Um, and they can all like be in this like endless chasing, right? Until they really find that it's all within themselves, right? And they can like kind of also like doubt themselves and doubt their vision, doubt their yeah, all that. And it's very, very common for drugs and alcohol to hear. Or for like that, like in the case of my clients, usually like the parents or someone in the family were so into it that they're like, I'm never touching that shit. But also, they can be the deceiver, not just the one that does the deceiving. Um, so yeah, really, like the karma of you like doing any kind of deception stuff is really, really bad. It's really important to have high morals. Um, and I guess romantically, it's like, yeah, it's another one who another thing where you have to like watch out for like seeing your partner as your savior, right? So yeah, your chart's really trying to bring you into yourself and your true desires, connecting with that, your imagination. And there's lots of manifestation abilities with this, right? So focus on those, um, and manifest your imagination into your life, because this is like, this is the addict and the spiritual leader, right? The champion of the underdog, right? So yeah. Um, so then, your black moon knows what signs it's in. It's in Leo. So, well, actually, yeah, sixth house, Leo. You know, you gotta watch out for being being too much like all eyes on me kind of stuff, right? Um, people, sometimes people with that they feel like people are taking advantage of their good nature, and they're thinking that other people are taking, and not giving enough when in fact it's not that. Also, you know, there can be like this like thing where one's talking a lot, but not like there's not like an equal exchange, like kind of narcissistic tendencies. This is just a possibility. It's not it's something in your chart. It's a hypothetical point. It's you at your lowest vibration. Um, so it's really important to be honest. And Gemini moon's also like if you have to not like gossip and do the low Gemini bullshit, right? Like shit talking, lying, like two-faced stuff. Um, but there is a need to shine, obviously. Um, so but it's also like about allowing other people to shine. So yeah. Now the fact that squares Venus can have like lots of in Mercury can have some effects on the self-esteem. Um, there can be that freedom between the desire to like express um the beauty of love, sexual desires, the Taurus stuff, but then also the freedom, the Gemini and freedom. Also, you can be really motivated to go against, confront like repression. Um, so yeah, that's big. Not tired by the way. I'm fucking too. But you have to watch out in relationships to try to dominate other people. Also like to avoid intimacy. So facing that is really, really important. Facing that. Remember, so facing intimacy, even if it feels fucking uncomfortable and weird for a Gemini moon, right? Um, so I just I just had a really random thought. I was like, I wonder if there like if there's a way to be interesting if there's a way to measure like how many thoughts an individual has per day, and to like quantify them in some type of, or qualify and quantify it in some type of way. Because I think like the Gemini people have a lot. I have like a Cazimi on my moon or Mercury, um, and Sun, and I just feel like I have like so many. I'm very mercurial. It's weird. That's a Cazimi. Anyways, enough about me. Um, so okay, Mercury and Lilith. What does that do? Well, um, that can make you feel very misunderstood in your communications, and feel like other people don't get you um your your views on life and different things. I can create someone who can be stressed easily, where they can be affected by criticism quite easily and shut down and not really want to show themselves. Um, so and someone who can maybe even like shit on their own ideas. So they might like just you know shut up. Um, and also there's like lots of difficulty with like defending yourself usually, which the Gemini moon pushes that away a lot. like in debates and stuff, but like Gemini Moon will make you very, very witty though. That's the thing. But it can work in your favor. Um is if you're able to like really be yourself and just like be brave and communicate how you feel. But also self acceptance is so key, right? It's the key to empowerment. Self acceptance is the key to empowerment. Like I need to write that shit down in my story. Okay. Anyways, okay, cool. So yeah, what else about this? Yeah, just like really like yeah, speaking your truth and just like not giving a shit. So if people don't get it, whatever, fuck them. Not fuck them. It's just like it's important to not hide your truth and to open that throat chakra and also find other people that you can really like talk about everything that you care about around. Um, because like you can have like lots of like valuable lessons you've learned through your difficult, potentially traumatic experiences. And it's important that you're able to voice those as a healer, you know, whether you're a healer professionally or not. Like if you are, you need to be able to talk about these things. Mars and Taurus by itself in the third, really good for intelligence also. Um, you can really state your ideas clearly. Yeah, Mika. Um, but it's just very common for like very successful people to have Mars and Taurus because they can just like work, they can start and just slowly, especially if they have some fire in their chart, which you do, and just like it's like they just keep like this very tenacious energy, right? Also, like I said, very very good for like money and going and getting it. And they have this like reliable course of action they follow. They can be very stubborn though, and all this energy can be very very stubborn. Aries too. So that's another thing. But then the Gemini moon dissolves the fuck out of that. All right. So we said this, we said that. Vesta in the sixth. That just makes you committed to serving others. It's conjunct Black and Lilith. So if I combine those, it's like you could be like someone that is a spiritual worker, like a witch energy. Um, and Yeah, committed to serving others. Sixth house, Vesta for sure. Really, really want to work and help humanity. Um, and Vesta and Leo, it's like you work best when you're left to your own devices, more entrepreneurial. Your midheaven is in fire in Sag. So you prefer to like be your own boss. Um, but you are able to work you know, alongside other people or like uh, you know, for people if need be, but you prefer not to. Um, and you want your work to be really closely linked to your fun. I said that before. So yeah. Okay. Sometimes I talked about it. Ruled by Mercury, so there could be like analyzing when it comes to relationships also, and darkness that can play out to that Mercury, uh, Black Lilith, and the Mercury Saturn. Um, but yeah, really being attracted to like very stable partners who are spiritual and also independent and also open-minded. Um, Uranus in the eighth, that is so psychic, gives downloads. Um, that's kind of a wild one. I'll go to that a little bit later. Jupiter in the ninth, I already talked about it, but in Scorpio, that's a really like intense search for truth. I see that in lots of charts of my clients and other astrologers. Um, like it's just like a very psychic, like a illuminate psychically illuminating placement. Neptune in your 10th house, like you want to have your career be based on service and based on helping other people. You might feel like some type of sacrifice in relation to your career. Um, what else? And midheaven, in Sag. Um, yeah, you want to like be noticed and work for yourself. There can be like some foreign connection to your career. It's ruled by Jupiter, so you have lots of luck in your career. It's really good midheaven to have. Um, and so Neptune and Uranus, Mika, your part of fortune in 11th house in Cap. So finding inner self-worth and like finding like a career and like a group of people that helps you like kind of move towards your greatest goal is like where you find your greatest joy and your flow. Um, finding ideas that help serve humanity, really, really important, and just working for humanity, working for God. Um, so then Uranus in the eighth is like the ultimate like for downloads, like where you can calm yourself in meditation, you'll just have like downloads come to you. This is the Uranus stone. It's very good for like things like astrology too. And overall, it's a good one, very, very good one. Um, and it opens the gates to the other world for you. Um, it's a great place to have Uranus, right? And yeah, what else about it? It can give like inheritances, like quick, like unexpected, like inheritances, or like benefiting from other people's money, like a interesting way. And because it's trying your son, so there's no bad aspect to it. So that's good. Um, so yeah, you really seek freedom through your sexuality, also through your spirituality. Um, and it's also very magical, but like gives like tons of occult abilities. This before strong intuition that come, yeah, it's like a lightning strike intuitions that just come to you, clairvoyance potential, Uranus rules the future, and yeah, like the esoteric is all is highly linked to that. Um, yeah, everything about like reincarnation, life after death, all these types of topics. But so in terms of the financial system, people who have that, they usually have like a hate towards banks and institutions like that. But you do have all that Taurus energy, right? Put that away. So you have to watch out for like taxes, like make sure you pay your taxes because you can get caught up in that and that's not good. In the sense of like it can if you yeah, you can get fucked in that way if you're not careful. Um, what else? Yeah, so it's just really good. Um, so yeah, yeah. Neptune. What else can I say about that? Yeah, just like any job where it's like very concrete and structure, it's gonna be very difficult. So it's like really good for like artistic careers, something where you can really like use your intuition in your career and use and help others. Um, so yeah, like turning your passion into your career is it's another indicator of that. Um, let's open this up. Okay. Wow. So you also have a more on your ascendant. So that the more is all about like unconditional love. So you're just someone who has so much love that exudes out of you. Like that purest, like just like wow, beautiful. It's just such an aura. Um, and like yeah, like that principle, like you have that, you wear that on your sleeves. And then what's this one? Karma conjunct Sun. So yeah, your life is really like karma playing a huge role in your life. It's not that close. Yeah, it's close enough. So yeah, karma playing a huge role in your life, more than other people. For sure. Now what's this one? Squeeze in between. Okay. And then what's this? I can't fucking see. Extend. I guess I could go. Oh shit, you have alcohol on your Mars. Ooh. So okay. What else? I guess I could talk about alcohol a little bit. It's like known as like very difficult. It's like the Medusa star, right? Where there's great spiritual potential. It gets a really bad rep, right? It really pushes someone into like the depths, the evil potentials. But there is this like great. Someone had a really really good quote in my story in my post the other day where it's like it's very high risk, high reward. And it kind of shows you like the really dark side of life. Very Plutonian, right? Um, but having Mars there, um, it is and is it angular? Is it? No. Yeah, it can cause lots of violence, honestly. Um, and really difficult to like avoid accidents and injuries. You have to really watch out for like risk behaviors, high risk behaviors. Let's see what else I can see about that. Yeah. Um, so then you also have a fixed star named Hamal, which is smack between your Venus and your Mercury, right? So obviously that's playing a huge point. Um, so Hamal is a very violent, you know, like pretty malicious, right? It's pretty rough one. Um, so very dominant. So it goes back to that theme of like trying to always like have power, right? Because it's on your Venus. So on Venus it's actually quite good. It makes women beautiful. Another indication of that. But it can also create lots of jealousy, envy, um, and suffering connected with the love life, which we saw with the Pluto, like an ill treatment potentially. Like yeah. And then with the Mercury, it's actually not bad with Mercury. Makes one very influenced by their marriage partner, very determined. So it channels well into Mercury. It's and it also tends to give lots of friends and make one very tactful, very strategic. So You hit the jackpot because Hamal can be difficult, but you have some nice plans with it. Now, what else do I see? Halcyon's not there. Yeah. So okay. So Moon. Ooh shit! Look at you. I love how I say the fucking fixed stars till the end, and you got that Aldebaran. How close is it? How close are we speaking? Aldebaran on the moon within 0.23 or 27. Woo! Aldebaran is the most fortunate star in all of astrology from the four world stars. Super fucking important. And to have it on your moon, wow, I was not expecting that. So that's just money, money, money. So good for business, honor, credit, like receiving credit, luck. It's just really, really good karma. Even fame. Um, it's very, very favorable for like having like a very optimistic like and good domestic life. Optimistic kind of inner self. Um, and yeah, like Aldebaran is where it's at. So, yeah, really smooth talking, great for business. A lot of times, not always, but oftentimes, either born into to money or they marry money or something like that. And just charmers, diplomats, beautiful fucking placement. Really, 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 it gives like a regal energy, and it's so close, right? So it's within a degree, so it really, really does matter. What else can I say about it? Lots of libido also, like lots of lust. So there is a need with this one to like rein in that lust, or else it can like um be bad. Um, Sometimes the mother passed like suddenly, which can obviously create issues. Um, which can create that like a healing that's needing, or else the person just goes from partner to partner. And it definitely makes someone need like a lot of like physical love and affection. But overall, come on, like Aldebaran, it's all about luck, and it's all about fortune, and it's all about that karma. Okay, so let's see. In heaven, in midheaven is close enough to the galactic center, so that is very interesting, and it's okay, and right on Urania, so you could be a professional astrologer, legit, not joking. It's right on Urania and the galactic center, so like your career is really probably meant to be something that's spiritual. You, you know, you're born in '70s, so you probably already manifested a lot of that. But like, if you're a professional astrologer, which I try not to know anything about you. Like you might be made for it, legit, like legitimately. Um, and then what's the other one? And then Circe, which is like about like witches, right? It's like one of like the witchy ones, right? It's a goddess of sorcery, magical abilities. So you have Circe, Galactic Center, and Urania, all in your midheaven. So yeah, like it can make someone like a gift with herbs and potions. So you are like, wow, that's crazy. In Galactic Center, you just know, like I don't even have to tell you like how spiritual that is. Yeah, so just amazing. So that's it. Thank you so much. Amazing reading. This was beautiful. I don't think you got a follow up, but if you're interested in one, what I suggest you do is let me know. And also, what nearly everyone does, they get the follow up. It's like an hour. And if you do have like an advanced knowledge of astrology, not everyone needs a follow up. Especially if like finances are a thing. We have to watch out for that. Then I get it, but I'm just telling you what most people do is to get the reading and the follow up. Um, and the current astrology. But like people who know who understand astrology really deeply, like based on your chart, I imagine you probably do. They probably understand their own solar return, their own progressions, their own transits. So there's not necessarily that need. But if you still do want that, I do give it a reduced price. The follow up, you can just message me if you're interested. I'll tell you the price I'll give you. Um, but it will be less than what's on my website and whatnot. So thank you so much, and talk to you later. Kisses from Romania. Ciao.